Hello makers, today I am going to do some visible mending and some techniques for doing sashiko. Sashiko is a type of embroidery originated from Japan, where you can mend clothes and make them stronger in different places with rows of running stitches. It's really easy to do, you just need a little bit of time and you also need the right thread. The thread that I'm using today is a Pearl 8 thread, which I will list below so that you can see that and have a look at some of the colours. And you will also need a needle with quite a good eye so that you can get the thicker thread through, but it needs to be quite sharp, especially if you're going through a couple of layers of denim. Let's have a look at some sashiko that's already been done so that you can see what we're aiming for. So here's some of the work that I've done on some of my jeans. So I had a sort of very worn patch there where the flat felled seam had got a bit worn, so I've put a piece of fabric on top. I've done a blanket stitch around the outside, and then I took a radiating running stitch, and then I took some stitches in the opposite direction. I've also done a patch here and then done the sashiko stitching on top. This is a much older patch here. So here I had a tiny little bit of fraying coming, so I did the put a piece of denim on the back. So this is like a sort of reverse visible mending technique. Put a piece of denim on the back and then sewed through all the layers, so you still get the sort of raw edge and the sort of fraying, but not that makes a hole, because even when that bursts through there's still a piece of denim behind. Sometimes it might just be to hold down a piece of fabric, so that one's been sewn down, and then there's these sort of seed stitches on top. Let's hold that down. Let's find another one. It's another set here in quite a sort of collection. So here there's some stitches running through a sort of bare patch that hasn't come through to a hole, and some more there like radiating out. I quite like that sort of sunshine burst. Or sometimes this one has been attached with a sewing machine, and then I just ran some stitches through the middle for texture. On the sides of my of both sides of my jeans, I had found that I did this habit of pulling my trousers up by putting my fingers in my belt loops, so I'd got quite a bare patch here. Got a hole coming here, so I've put a piece of denim on top, and this one has some crosses, has rectangles, so you can just go with whatever you want. You can follow the patterns on some fabric. So this had concentric circles, so that goes out in a sunshine shape. You can also follow the pattern of a fabric that's already there, so the design was the little star, so I just carried that on. It's another seed stitch one. This one's got running stitches through it. So there's lots of different ones to try, and they all build up to make one big design. This is the mending that I'd like to do today. So this hasn't quite gone through yet, but it's very close here and here. This is on some children's jeans. So the first thing that I do when I'm going to do some mending is I put a little piece of interfacing on top of the area and press that down so that I've sort of glued together the fibres. I used to put that on the inside, but when I did that after I'd washed them and my knees had rubbed the inside, they all started to peel down. So I've started now to put them on the outside, and then when I cover it with my patch, then that's covered it over and it's still nice and smooth on the inside. So the first thing I'm going to do is to stop the fibres fraying anymore by sort of gluing them together. And then because we're visible mending, you can use a piece of near matching denim to go on top, or you can choose a darker colour to make a sort of actual patch. This is a chambray, so this one I would turn the edges under and make a patch first and then put the patch on top. With denim, I sort of quite like that it's going to fray a bit, and my hand stitching will enhance that. You can also choose different coloured fabrics like I've chosen on my other jeans, and you can cut out some of the design features or some of the design shapes. You can put a piece of hemming underneath there, some double-sided hem tape, so that it's held down, or you can just pin it down as you go. I'm going to have to work on these upside down because I can't get my hand in from the bottom because it's too narrow. So I'm just going to put a couple of pins in just to hold it in place. And then I'm ready to start doing my running stitches. Going to thread up a needle, and I like to start in the middle and then work out. You can draw it on if you want to, or you can just freehand and just really enjoy the stitching process. So you just take even running stitches through all layers, and don't pull it too tight, especially if it's on the knee area, because what can happen is your jeans can feel quite tight when you're wearing them afterwards. So make sure you've got a little bit of leeway in those stitches so that you've got a little bit of ease across your knees. Because if you do it too tight, what happens is when you wear these items, you'll then put extra pressure where there isn't a patch, because if that's tight there and this is tight here, they'll be fighting against each other. And really it's as simple as that. It's just all about sewing time, having some time, and enjoying the process. You can change the stitch lengths. You can do some short, you can do some long. And here are a few examples of Minerva Maker's work using sashiko. Once you've got some vertical lines in, carry on with the red lines over here, and then you can start to put some lines going the other way. They don't have to meet a particular place. Mine aren't even here. You can just do them. This one isn't as wide as these ones, some closer, some wider. Some people like to do like more curved patterns. I'm finding that a bit trickier because I can only just, it's a children's pair, so I can only just get my hand in there. So it's easier to do those swirling patterns on things like denim jackets, where you can turn the work more and get your arm in a different position. Another type of visible mending you can do, of course, is to patch with a motif. So this is the other knee that's already gone. So this has got a little bird motif on. Again, it's got a little patch of interfacing underneath to stop it running, and that's sewn on. If you use the word motif or iron-on patch, you'll be able to search Minerva's full range of patches. So I'm going to continue working on this, and then I'll show you the finished product at the end. So here's the technique finished. It can be as complicated as you would like. It can be more of a pattern. You can get sashiko patterns so that you can follow a specific pattern, maybe some paisley shapes or scallops. That's just making the repair, and the threads go off the side, so there's still a little bit of stretch left in there, but of course you've lost the stretch now in that knee area. So if you do it on stretch jeans, you need to be aware that you've lost an element of the stretch, and you will have broken some of the elastane fibres in the fabric. So it's not a patch forever, but it's just a really interesting way of patching and doing a visible mending technique along with the motifs. You can also use that simple running stitch to repair jersey fabric. So if you get a little hole in your jersey stretch fabrics, you can cover those with another piece of jersey, so they've got the same sort of running stitch around. But if you do that, then you need to make sure that each leaf that you do is separate. Don't run your thread from one leaf to the next leaf because you'll lose the stretch of your fabric. So you need to knot off each one so that you retain the stretch. But that's a great way of repairing a t-shirt with a hole in by adding small applique. I hope that's inspired you to take a look at some visible mending. Could be in any shape or form, but it's always good to use your skill to save your clothes to make them last a little bit longer. Sashiko is really enjoyable because it's so freehand and it's so free that you can just use running stitches just to keep making your very own unique design. If you've done some hand stitching of your own, then we'd love to see it. So do make an account and share your makes with us at minerva.com. Thanks very much for watching. See you again soon.